The Commonwealth Women Parliamentarians was founded in 1989 to increase the number of female elected representatives in parliaments and legislatures across the Commonwealth, and to ensure that women's issues are brought to the fore in parliamentary debate and legislations. The Commonwealth Women Parliamentarians is the network of women members of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Associations, parliaments and legislatures. The CWP network provides a means of building the capacity of women elected to Parliament to be more effective in their roles, improving the awareness and ability of all parliamentarians, male and female, and encouraging them to include a gender perspective in all aspects of their role, legislations, oversight, and representation, and helping parliaments to become gender-sensitive institutions.
Up to 2 hours to vote based on the agreement of the candidates.
The Commonwealth Women Parliamentarians was formally established in 2004 as a part of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. The Commonwealth Women Parliamentarians promotes and administers gender equity as well as encouraging women to stand for election in parliamentary legislations. The CWP Steering Committee met in the first week of November 2017 at the 63rd Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference in Dhaka, Bangladesh. During this conference, the chairperson of the Commonwealth Women Parliamentarians, Dr. Datu Nuraini Ahmed MP, has said how the Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference can help increase women's participation in parliaments and legislatures.
Our objectives are to promote and mainstream gender equality in the work of CPA and across the Commonwealth. And we want to encourage women to stand for election to the Parliament and legislatures across the Commonwealth because we want to achieve the aspiration of at least 30% of women in decision-making position. And we also want to facilitate the professional development of women members across the Commonwealth.
During the 63rd Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference, in an exclusive interview with the GB television, Alexandra Mendès, MP, Member of Parliament from Canada and Executive Committee of CPA, has expressed a lot of expectations about CPC 2017 and Empowerment of Women Parliamentarians.
Welcome to Bangladesh, and thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to talk to you about the empowerment of women parliamentarians, how to empower the women parliamentarians. About this matter we are discussing now. First of all, Excellency, women face multiple obstacles to participating in political life, from cultural norms and discriminatory laws to reduce access to political networks and financial resources. When women actually elected, they continue to face the obstacles such as lack of institutional support, gender stereotypes about women's roles and professional capacities, and the challenges balances private and professional life. My question is, to address these challenges as a parliamentarians, what should be done to overcome this kind of obstacles?
That's a very large question, and obviously it takes many answers to cover all of it. And also it has to take into consideration the country where you're living in, the region that you're representing. So there are a great many aspects to this question that I'll try to cover in as a short a period of time as possible. I'm a member of parliament in Canada, so I'm coming from a society that, generally speaking, has a very gender equal approach to women and men sharing power. But I have to say that we are only 27% women parliamentarians in the federal parliament in Canada, which is very, very far from what it should be. Women are 50% of humankind, so normally we should be 50% of all the elected representatives. That's I would say the fairer thing to expect from a democracy is to have 50% representation by the other half of humanity, and women are the other half of humanity. So that's the basic one. We're very far from that. I would say that Canada doesn't have the cultural challenges that some of our other Commonwealth colleagues have, but we still have a lot of stereotypes about women taking time away from raising families and going into politics. The challenge of financial resources are definitely ones because we often have less capacity to approach donors. Although we don't have campaigns like the Americans do, but we all need money to run a campaign. So our resources are often much less developed than the men resources are. I think the major stereotype to overcome is ourselves. We women have to gain in confidence in saying it is our right. We don't have to ask for a favor. This is our right, and we have to really force the issue and be there and show up for elections and be the candidates and make sure that we get elected. It's easier said than done, but it is the only way we're going to change is to making sure that we're there and we are unavoidable, that people see us as unavoidable. We are part of the democratic process.
Where any major steps have been taken to overcome these obstacles from your country and other regions?
Canada has done some thing. Well, obviously the legislative things that have been done, the laws that have been implemented to ensure that women have equal access democratically to all the elected posts. For many years now, women have had the right to vote, have had the right to be elected. There are still, I think, steps to take, and one of them, in my opinion, although it's not a very popular opinion, is that we definitely need quotas to ensure that women get elected. Women tend to think of the group more of themselves, so when they are thinking of running for an election, they want to make sure that they have as much support from everybody as they possibly can, whereas men only have confidence in themselves and they say, no, I have good ideas, I have a good background, so I'm going to run for an election. Women want to have support from the community. So for that to happen, I think political parties need to have quotas in ensuring that at a reasonable level of candidates are women and that they are going to get elected. So that's a big challenge in our country, and I think in many of the Western democracies.
While implementing the power by women parliamentarians, they faces a lot of discrimination. How to overcome this from this discrimination or and other things?
How to overcome discrimination? I think we have a lot of lessons to take from the civil rights movement. But I think it's a battle that is never won. Women, on top of being women, being female, they often have the issues of being from a minority, of having children, very young children. So issues that always come and take away from the capacity to say, whoa, it's my right, I'm here, I'm doing it. From my own personal experience, the fact that I had arrived at an age where my daughter was an adult, I didn't need to be at home with my child when I decided to go into politics. Nobody ever accused me of neglecting my child. But if I had decided to go into politics when my daughter was much younger, I think I would have received a lot of discrimination because I was sort of abandoning my child. So yes, I definitely think discrimination is still very much an issue all over. Do I have a solution? No, except for continuing to be there and make sure that we prove that by being there we are contributing in a very positive way to the democratic process of our societies.
Women parliamentarians want to escape from this discrimination. You should establish the gender equation. What is your opinion?
Absolutely, gender equality is the most, I would say, most just thing that we have to aspire for as societies. As I said previously, we are 50% of humanity, so we should have 50% of the decision-making power that men have. We should share in the decision-making. I've never been of the opinion that we do better than men do. We just do it differently, and we should complement each other. Men and women in decision-making positions, we have both of us perspectives that should be taken into account when making legislature, and I absolutely believe that it's still an ongoing battle. It's not done.
In which regions out of 9, you know very well that there is 9 regions at the moment.
CPA, yeah.
CPA, yes, under the CPA, this kind of discrimination can be seen more. Which region?
I would tell you that cultural discrimination or cultural obstacles are probably much more prevalent in Asia or Southeast Asia than they would be in Western countries or even Africa. Africa has already made a lot of progress on that. But it doesn't mean that in the Western countries we don't still face a lot of obstacles and discrimination. We should, I believe, continue to work together, all the 9 regions of the CPA, to make the point that women cannot be avoided in the democratic process. We are part of the democratic process. We have to be there. And the quicker we attain the 50%, I think the better off we'll be as societies, as countries.
In Eastern Europe and Central Asia, progress towards the higher representation of women in political has been slow. Across the region, women's representation in the lower houses of the parliament across 20%, only 20%. Women's representation in local elected office remains equally low. The women representing just 15% of mayor. My question is how to improve this situation in this region.
I go back to the opinion that we definitely need quotas. If we don't have quotas, at least for a number of years, we will not get there. We need to have political will to say that 50% of the seats are going to be reserved for women. So you have to have, well, obviously you can't start with 50%. Let's start with 30 and go to 40 and go to 50. But if you don't have that rule as legislation, you will never get there. So we definitely need to start by having the political will to have those quotas and force the fact that we need 50% of representation from women.
Okay. What's your expectation from the 63rd Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference about empowerment of women parliamentarians?
I think my colleagues mostly would share a lot of what I've just said. I don't think we are all in agreement about quotas. Many of us don't want to hear about the idea of quotas, but generally speaking, we all know that if we don't achieve this 50% representation, we will never have the kind of voice that we believe we should be having in the political and national debates that we have in our countries.
Is it your first time visit in Bangladesh?
It is my first time in Bangladesh.
How do you like this Bangladesh?
I've been enjoying it immensely. I'm very sorry that I can't visit more, but we are very busy with the conference, so we don't have much time to do some sightseeing, but I'm enjoying it very much. I've loved the things I've bought so far. I love the pearls I bought. I love the fabrics I bought. So I'm very, very happy to be here, and the conference has been extremely well organized.
Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you for
very
the
much.
opportunity. Thank you very much.